Hi, this is lecture 13 and we'll be learning do while loop in this module. This is Meganadha. Let's get started. In the previous module we learned about how to write a simple while loop and how we can use while loop for iteration. And in this module we will see how to write a do while. Let's get started. Let me open code blocks and this is module 13. So click on new file and I will save this as 13.do while example. Now as usual we'll write here, we will print hello 5 times, right? So include stdio.h and include conio.h void main. And now as usual we used to write here like this. I have informed this a good practice to write about author. I'm writing here meganadha@gmail.com. sorry, Meganadha, my name, and purpose to illustrate do while loop and print hello 5 times. And as usual, so this is a multi-line comment, so we're just writing a multi-line comment. Now we'll write here, so int I is equal to 1, and in place of do while we first write, so we'll first write do, and then after this statement we'll write here printf hello, and then we'll write here I++. After the statements we'll check for the condition. So that's the difference between a while loop and do while loop. So in place of while loop, first we check for the condition and then the statements will be executed if the condition is true. In case of do while loop, statements will be executed irrespective of the condition is true or false for the first time. After executing for the first time, then we will check for the condition while I less than or equal to 5. And remember, you have to put semicolon when in the do while loop. In the do while loop, for while condition you have to put semicolon. Now let me explain this, how this works. Now first the statements will get executed. Remember, even if this I value is 7, which the condition is not satisfied, the statements will get executed once, right? So statements gets executed. So first it'll print hello, and I++, this will become 2, and then we'll check for the condition 2 less than 5, so it has already printed once, plus now again it'll come here, it'll print hello, and I value becomes 3 less than or equal to 5, yes, it'll execute hello, and now I value becomes 4 less than or equal to 5, yes, it'll print hello, and then I value becomes 5 and it'll print hello, and now I value becomes 6, while 6 less than or equal to 5, the condition fails. So that's how a do while loop works. The only point to note here is irrespective of whether the condition is true or not. So in this case this will print hello 5 times. Now let's save it and let's build it, and you can see there are no errors. Let's run the code. Now you can see it's printing hello 5 times. So let's add /n so that we can see in the new line. Let's save it and build it. Let's run the code. You can see it's printing hello 5 times. Now remember that even if I put I value as 10, the condition is getting failed. So in this case when I value is 10, so it will do the statements. After executing the statements it will check for the condition. So in this case if I value is 10, so it will print hello, and I value becomes 11, the condition fails, so it will print 1 time hello. Let's save it and build it and run the code. Now you can see it's printing hello once. Now that's the difference between while loop and do while loop. So do while loop, irrespective of whether the condition is true or not, statements inside do will be executed at least once, irrespective of the condition is true or false, right? So now you might be thinking, where do we use do while? Where do we use do while? Let's try to see this. Let's try to understand this. I'll do a program like adding 2 numbers, and we'll ask user, do you want to add another set? So now I'll write a small program and I'm changing it to add two numbers and iterate and ask for us to continue or not using do while loop. So let's see, you will understand this comment later, and let's get started. Let's say this now. Now what I'll do is I'll declare a value char ch and then int a comma b comma c. This is for two numbers and this is for sum. Let's put here sum. Now what I'll do is do and printf enter first number, and I'll read this scanf %d comma ampersand a, and then printf enter second number, and then I'll put here scanf %d comma ampersand b. Now sum is equal to a plus b, and printf I'll write here sum of %d and %d is %d. Now here I want to print first %d's place, I want to print a value, so let's put here a, b, and sum. Now what we'll do is I want to ask user whether he wants to add another set of numbers. So I can ask user like this. So I'll write printf. I'll just give some spaces. Do you want to add another set? And yes or no. Now we'll ask user whether he wants to add another set or not, and we'll store the result in ch. So scanf, and we'll write this a character, right? %c comma ampersand ch. Now we'll store that character in ch. Now what we'll do here, so if the customer enters y, that means he has to continue this once again. So what we can do in this case is, here you can write while ch is equal to y. So as long as the customer is typing y, we need to continue this. And once the customer types n, that means we don't want to. So in this case, first time user has to add the numbers irrespective of when you run the code, first time it should execute the statements, and then based on user's input you want to continue or not. So that's where this is a scenario where you can use the do while loop. Now let's say this, let's execute this, and let's see the output now. Let's save it and build the code, and then no errors. Let's run the code. Now see here, enter first number, let's enter 5, enter second number 10. So it's showing sum is equal to 5 and sum of 5 and 10 is 15. So do you want to continue? So I think we missed something there. Let's see, what did we miss? So do you want to continue? And yes or no, and we have done everything correctly. So now while, okay, so now it has to repeat. So now let's check this. Well, ch is equal to y, so I have typed y. Let's say this now. Let's run the code. Let's save it and let's run the code now, and I will enter here 10 and I'll enter 12 and it's showing 22. I think let's try to rebuild it and build it, and let's run the code. 6 and 8, and it's showing now. In this case, the reason for not asking this do you want to continue is maybe because of the /n's that we have given here. So what's happening is this one of the characters is getting considered for this line. So what we can do is in this case, to resolve this, we can give a simple space here. And now let's try this. So after the space only it'll consider, so it'll wait for our input. Now let's save it and let's build it, and you can see there are no errors. Let's run the code. Now enter first number 9, enter second number 10. So you can see here sum of 9 and 10 is 19, and do you want to add another number? So I'm typing yes. So it's again asking me to enter first number 19, 29. Do you want to continue? Yes. So you can see here So as long as I'm typing y, it will continue to ask me, do you want to continue? So I'll type here 10 and 20. Now I don't want to continue now. I'll type n. So it will stop. So like this, a do while loop, the statements inside do while loop will be executed as long as, irrespective of the condition is true or false. And this is the example scenarios where we use do while loop. Example to conduct a quiz or some sample of questions if you want to get from the user and ask user, do you want to continue once again? So that's where the scenario, real world scenarios where we use do while. And remember, always remember that a semicolon is required for the while loop, otherwise it will give a compilation error. So if I don't put the semicolon here and if I build the code, it is more likely that it will give a compilation error. So you can see here expected a semicolon. So semicolon is required for a do while loop. So I hope do while loop is clear now, and let's see what's planned for next module. So in the next module we are going to learn a nested for loop, right? So as usual, what I'll do now is I will upload this this file so that you can download it. I just saved it, and let's go to the GitHub and let me upload the file. So now I'm uploading the file that I just illustrated in this module. So go to this PC and D drive, my C programs, and you can see here do while example, and it got uploaded and commit changes. And how you can get these files is as usual I'm explaining in each and every module. So all you have to do is you need to type this URL. So once you type the URL, you can download the file that you want, right? So https://github.com/meganadha/c. Okay. So in this module we learned how to use a do while loop, and in the next module we will see how to write a nested for loop. A nested for loop means a for loop inside another for loop, right? So thank you and see you in the next module.